Welcome, Maya. So happy to have you.
Thank you. Happy to be here. So good morning to everyone. Well, good afternoon. So I've heard multiple people in different ways address the idea that I'm going to share with you, which is that to solve a problem, you first have to understand what it is. Then you'll know how you can address it. So we've shared my name, which is Maya. And what I do is I am an artist and an extracurricular educator. I teach the art forms that I practice, and I also teach workshops about raised bed and hydroponic farming and food systems at Carl Schurz High School and Whittier Elementary School in Chicago, and also through a summer camp with the Oak Park Education Foundation. So the problem that I see, and one of the reasons why I've been so excited to be on this committee, is that there's a problem with not enough people composting or collecting recyclable organic matter to be composted. None of the locations actually where I work collect anything to be composted. And after working for a short while with an organization in Chicago that does, I started to think more critically about how I, specifically as an educator, can address that problem. So I first thought about the work that the company was doing, and then realized the work that so many others were doing around educating, collecting scraps for compost, encouraging people to compost in the cities where they are across Illinois. And I was thinking more about the ways that this company and the work others do can impact a larger group of people, the masses, if you will, through both a customer base, which a lot of people already have, but also through community-based engagement. And it's from that a curriculum, which I'm going to share with you today, has grown. I think that cross-contextual work is the way to engage the masses. You have to build bridges between what people are already doing and what you are sharing. And so this curriculum has been specifically designed to be cross-contextual, to be multifaceted, to be flexible. It's been intentionally designed to be able to meet learners of varying age groups, varying abilities, and it would really just depend on the amount of specific instruction that a group would need. It also lends itself to varying timeframes. And though that may sound utopic, it is really a practical action that curriculum or that programming can take. We have core subject matter that is adaptable, right, to larger groups and to groups' specific needs. The curriculum is going to be addressing physical and social sciences of composting. And that's the way that I see it being multifaceted and cross-contextual. Because science is not just about the biology and chemistry, but there are also social sciences involved in composting, identifying landfills, what landfills have been used for, identifying and investigating food systems, how people receive food, also the way that we share the resources we have. Those are all social sciences, along with the chemistry and biology, the thermophilic composting, the vermicomposting that is also involved in those systems. The curriculum I also see as something that could be used in a school day program, through a community initiative, a neighborhood garden, a park district, a community-based organization, a club, a group, anyone who's interested in both learning about and practicing the act of composting. And so I have a couple slides to share with you all, and I will share my screen. And before I start, I'll just check in to make sure that everyone can see what I am seeing. Okay, yes, awesome. So as I was saying, this curriculum is designed to include both the physical and social sciences of composting. And participants would do that by investigating food systems, practice working with compost, recyclable organics, a term that I'm using throughout this curriculum, to identify not only food scraps, but anything really that can be safely composted in a facility that has the resources to do so. So it's titled a Community Source Scraps Initiative because the base of the program is that a group is communally sourcing scraps to then be delivered to a facility that is zoned to be able to compost those scraps. And in doing that, they go through this backwards design practice where they identify how those scraps reach them. And then they identify what recyclable organics are. They identify the science involved in compost systems. And then there are also then contributing these scraps to an org that can compost them, but then going through the process of identifying what that finished compost can also be used for. So it's broken into 3 core groups. The first group, A, is an introduction. And the words that are in bold are key vocabulary words. Under them are subcategories, themes that would be engaged with through workshop practice. They are broken down into 5 groups. That's something that would work well in a weekly setting or a daily setting in a week. But again, the curriculum is designed to be shifted depending on a group's timeframe needs. The second would be an introduction to the STEM, or the STEAM, and composting, these physical sciences. So by investigating compost systems, talking about the sciences of composting, talking about design and engineering, you have all sorts of compost systems that require different organisms, but also different physical parts. And then the third is community and organizing, the social sciences of composting, which provides participants with the ability to engage with the difference between trade and purchase, the idea of what it means to organize, what it means to be a part of a community. All of these things are critical subject matter to engage with when talking about composting, because it's not just something that benefits the person who's collecting the scraps to be composted, it's something that benefits the entire city, and on a larger scale, the state and, the greater world around us. And so this third area provides participants with the ability to engage with that subject matter. Also included is a Css log. So though this may not look exactly like this for each group, holding a place for it allows groups to be encouraged to keep track of the work they're doing, keep track of the weight they've collected, the types of scraps they've collected, from where they've collected them, and those in their group who are participating in that collection. And then the last side is a working vocabulary list. So along with not only the physical acts, there are key vocabulary words that guide this work, a list that I do think is going to grow. But to start out with, these are some of those words and some of what has been reflected in the curriculum. And the idea is to be able to include the vocabulary that not only is relevant to compost work, but relevant to the work that other groups who may be approached may already be doing. So words that are inclusive of STEAM curriculum, words that may be inclusive of community organizing, words that are both found in those, again, social and physical science categories.